And the reason that we think that we don't have issues with piracy is that there's misconceptions in the industry about what piracy is, right? There's assumption that what is piracy? Piracy is about people want to steal stuff from you, right? That they don't want to pay any money and they want to get your content. From our point of view, what we saw more and more is that piracy is a result of bad service on the part of game companies. So it really is a question of viewing yourself as how can you provide the best possible service to your customers, and pricing really is one of the less important aspects of that whole equation.
Never mind the Fallout footage that I'm using for the background of this. Resident Evil is probably my favorite franchise. I just really like Fallout New Vegas, so I'm playing it right now, so I'm using it as the background. Resident Evil 9, I am super excited for it. Almost as excited for this game as I was about the Resident Evil 4 remake. And they just released some new gameplay, so I'm gonna check it out. Really? That was it? Why even release anything? Well, I guess, I mean, we can kinda see some gameplay, but it was really what we expected because it seems like it's that, new Resident Evil style gameplay. Doesn't change anything. Still super excited. Other than Resident Evil 9, and pretty much the entire Resident Evil franchise, I don't really play new games. I just play old games, because old games, they got more charm. They've got more heart, more soul. And a lot of times, they're just better. And they experiment with mechanics more often. They're just more interesting to me. And I think everybody should be going back and playing old games.
The gaming industry is failing. There's a lot of bad stuff happening right now, and it's so hard to stay positive and look forward to things when things kind of just feel like it's a big doomsday. Big doomsday. That's the only word I can describe it, you know?
Yeah, not really. It's kind of just the AAA space where that's going on.
There's a lot of bad stuff happening in the gaming industry. I kind of talked about it in my last video, but this video is a response to numerous comments I received on my last video where I ranted about the state of the gaming industry. These comments kind of went along the lines of, the gaming industry is failing, it's falling apart. Just play the games you already have. Which, yes, I agree. Wholeheartedly, I agree. Play the games you already have. Don't just buy games. Don't just support developers who are very clearly just using you to pack their wallets, you know? I do think, obviously, that you should be a conscious consumer and play the games you buy. Your money is important. Your time is your money. You earned that money. Why would you just hand it over to some greedy corporation or to some sucky game? You know, that doesn't make any sense, right?
And just to add something real quick, if you don't like something, it's okay to talk about it, man. People are gonna be mad, let them be mad. If you do like something, don't let people who don't like it get you all up in a tizzy, you know? You like what you like, you don't like what you don't like. And that's the way it goes. And people are gonna be mad about it. And you can't please everyone. You can't please most anyone at all. You might be able to please a small group of people.
And so while, yes, I agree with these comments, something in me just couldn't sit right with it. I didn't like it. Every time I would get a comment that was just like, just play the games that you already have. I'd get a little pissed. I'd get a little mad about it, and just hear me out, okay? I don't want to just settle for never buying a new game ever again. People were like, oh, just never buy a game ever again. The gaming industry's gone.
Well, no. Never buy AAA corporate slop ever again. Definitely be buying games, especially new ones that you love. Like new ones that are great that everybody's talking about. Oh yeah, definitely buy those. Hard recommend. I mean, like, I don't not buy games. I just don't buy AAA corporate slop. I don't buy full price games. A lot of games that I buy are like 2 years old. I still buy games. They're just not like day one.
I don't want to settle for that. I don't want to just settle for the idea that the gaming industry is failing. It pains me. It really does. I refuse to believe there's no reason that we shouldn't fight for new games and a better gaming industry. There's no reason why we shouldn't get together, talk about these things, have discussions about it, and try to make this industry a better place.
Nobody can afford video games anymore. Yeah.
Guys, we're in some serious trouble. Gaming has been getting more expensive by the year, but right now it's about to get more expensive by the day. It already has.
Yeah, and it just means that I won't be buying expensive games. Games that I'll be buying will be priced accordingly.
The same components that I have in my PC right now cost twice as much as they did just 2 years ago. RAM just rose by 200% in just the last 2 months.
Is RAM having what GPUs had like 4 years ago? Is that what's happening?
And I know some people are going to look at this and say, oh, well, this is a PC problem.
I see.
No, all these different components, they're used in just about everything. Handhelds,
I'm not
consoles,
as familiar with
whatever
it.
else. Everything is going to get dragged up with all of this. What's happening right now is that AI is taking over the world. Who would have guessed it?
Wow.
And these data centers are doing everything they can to be able to keep up with this AI gold rush because everybody wants a piece of that money.
Yeah.
And that's pushed these guys to raid the consumer market for products.
Yep.
Buying up everything off the shelves before we even have a chance to get our hands on it, causing
like
a lot of scarcity and making prices skyrocket with no end in sight.
Yep.
The part that really bothers me with all of this is just how obvious this play is. These guys are just getting way too sloppy for me. It's starting to aggravate me at this point. Like, if you're going to be a scammer, you got to try to hide it a little bit. But these guys don't even want to bother hiding it anymore.
Well, they know that they control the world, basically. Who's going to do anything about it?
The timeless beauty of pre-rendered graphics.
When I look back at the PC games of the late 90s and early 2000s, there's a distinct visual style that I believe truly stands the test of time.
Sure.
It's when the game employs pre-rendered graphics paired with an isometric perspective. Curious about what that looks like? Here, let me show you.
King's Quest. Yeah. Yep, and you walk around on it.
These are the most appealing style of games to me, especially right now. I've been playing a lot of games like this, and I'm about to get into like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 and Fallout 2, especially Fallout 2. I really need to play that one. I'm definitely going to play that one on stream very soon. Obviously, I've been playing Fallout New Vegas. You can see this background video streaming every night. Midnight.
Yep. These are the old days. Real old. Long time ago. Oh. Oh, Sim City. Wow. Damn. Damn. Commandos. Look at this. Wow. Halls of Torment? Yeah, Halls of Torment was like this. You're right. The Settlers. Oh, I think I had this one. Yeah, I think I did. Diablo 2 had this? Damn, I didn't even know that. Wow. Robin Hood. So this is up until like the early 2000s.
Is it just me, or do these games look just as beautiful as they did over 20 years ago?
Well, yeah, they do
The
look
rich
great.
details, the handcrafted feel, and level of cohesion all culminate into one of my favorite aesthetics of that era.
I think that the big problem is the lack, like, optimization and like game optimization used to be a skill inside of itself, but now it's not. It's not really a skill anymore, and it's just kind of, you know, oh, we'll just buy the new graphics card and it'll be okay.
Also, the corporate sameness of new games is so obvious whenever you look at these old games, because they obviously are like the same kind of games with the same kind of graphics, but they're all obviously different games. You look at Unreal Engine games today, and you're trying to find the differences. It's like spot the difference. Has anybody been keeping up with Nexus Mods here recently? They've been doing a lot of weird political moves, and they've been getting absolutely cooked.
Modding is amazing because you are able to edit your copy of your game. If you want all of your characters to look a certain way, you can change them. If you want them to have outfits that the developers didn't create, you can add them. You can enhance the level of graphics, or certain elements in the game can be changed, and that is the beauty of this community.
I like bug fixes and overhaul mods. I like it whenever a mod is just itself a completely separate game from the main game, like Fallout London, for example.
But unfortunately, modding sites are extremely inconsistent. Nexus Mods will allow certain titles that let you turn white characters black, but they won't allow you to turn black characters white because then they scream racism. But that exact thing is now happening with a new Final Fantasy VII mod, and people are wrecking this site over it.
Dude, just like, have some common sense. Absolutely embarrassing. I wish there was an actual viable place to get mods. I use mods a lot, so unfortunately I had to use Nexus Mods for Fallout New Vegas to get it to work. But man, they need to quit their shit. Somebody needs to come up with something better.
I personally don't really care what people do when it comes to modding their own games. If you want to turn all of your characters black, that's perfectly fine. If you want to turn all of your characters white, that's perfectly fine. I don't think somebody should be called a racist or a sexist or a bigot for doing either, but we know that some of the sites like Nexus Mods are extremely politically motivated, and really the moderators of the site are activists through and through.
Yeah, whenever they see a white person being replaced with a black person, they see it as like empowerment. But if you do it the opposite way, it's like punching down. That's how activists see this. It's fucking gross, and it's actually racist. Rolling Stone has released their own list of video games. Rolling Stone is not a video game publication. What the fuck? Well, you know this is going to be absolutely ridiculous, so let's check it out.
Rolling Stone senior gaming editor Chris Cruz publishes the Rolling Stone top 25 games of 2025, with South of Midnight at number 11 and Ghost of Yotei at 5.
All right, how did they come up with this list? Did they just like ask a bunch of people what their favorite games were and then compiled it, and then this is what they came up with? Because I guarantee you, if they ask employees at Rolling Stone, half of them are gonna lie about games that they've heard of that fit an agenda and haven't even played them. Like, how do you even know that people have even played these? I want to know where they're getting this.
Both of those above Hollow Knight Silksong. The industry has been co-opted by activists, and access pushes promotion. This needs to stop. So here is the Rolling Stone, the best 25 video games of 2025. And at least we could say they started off with Expedition 33 at number 1. Like, okay, good. Not a super controversial pick there.
Yeah, I don't even count that game because that's just such an easy win.
Fair enough. Okay. Hades 2, I haven't played it. I've heard people say they love it, and it's up for Game of the Year nomination. It checks all the boxes. Sure. Number 2, great. Donkey Kong Bonanza, haven't played it yet. People love it. It's up for Game of the Year nomination. Okay, sure. No issue there. Dispatch number 4, haven't played it. Hear great things about it. okay, not too much of an issue there. Number 5, Ghost of Yotei. This is where I have to pause and be like, now we're kind of reaching. We're trying our best to find a way to push this game as high as possible. That's what I see when I see that game there. Then Blueprints at number 6, which I hear a lot of people saying it's great. The 100 line, Last Defense Academy, haven't even heard of it, but okay. Number 7 of the year, haven't even heard of it. Number 8, Death Stranding 2, which many are saying could be game of the year at Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. On Rolling Stone's list, it's number 8, followed by a game that I am currently extremely addicted to, Ball X Pit, at number 9. And then Arc Raiders, number 10, which I can tell you, yeah, plenty of people playing Arc Raiders. Sure. We got South of Midnight at number 11. And I got to say, guys, when I see South of Midnight at number 11, why would that be a thing unless, I don't know, you had a story earlier this year with Inside Access meeting with the developers in person. Chris Cruz. For Rolling Stone, writer Alyssa Mercante, which, fun fact, she's currently suing me, returns to preview Xbox's South of Midnight and spoke with its developers about the complexities of weaving a stop-motion fantasy epic from Deep South trauma.
Dude, everywhere I look, all these gaming companies, all these gaming journals are all connected. It's all these same people with these same games on these same lists at these same publications. They got all kinds of problems going on over there at Sony, over at PlayStation. So let's just get into it, man.
Destiny's game director says they have a problem retaining players, so he's admitting what everybody already knew. After the final shape, the most recent big expansion, a lot of people just decided to leave. That expansion was the end of the big arc. It was actually pretty good, so people saw their good ending, and it seems they actually took it. And what we now have seen is that what came to follow kind of proved their decision right. And so much so that just as players are now writing off their 8-year investment in Destiny 2, the news that's broke is that PlayStation have just wrote off $204 million of theirs. Here's where today's story really begins. This week, Destiny Renegades launched. It's the second expansion under their new development schedule, and it's one that is liberally taking from the aesthetic and the language of Star Wars, very much in the hopes of that being a good jumping on point for new players.
Dude, Bungie just can't help themselves but just to rip off everything, if not just outright steal stuff. Holy shit. They cannot come up with any creative ideas anymore. Like, what happened? Did they force all of the good people out because good people aren't going to work at a shitty company? They're going to move on? Is that what's going on here? You're just left with all the shit?
Which is exactly what both Destiny and Bungie desperately need. They need a win, because recently they've been taking nothing but losses. So far, Renegades is not a loss. Now, it may have the lowest concurrent player count that a Destiny 2 expansion has ever had on Steam, and it may also have a mixed user review rating across the expansion and the main game, but hey, at least it's not negative. And for games like this, that can actually be saying something. But when we look at the more enthusiast people over on the Destiny Reddit, you do see, actually, well, a bit of a better reception. It seems that the actual content in this expansion is at least better than what people got in Edge of Fate. But of course, for many people, that will be damning by way of the faintest of praise. And it's certainly not a reversal of fortunes.
Yeah, too little, too late. Nobody cares anymore, and people are wanting to move on. They're wanting a new game. They're wanting to move on from Destiny 2. They want Destiny 3. They want Marathon. They want Marathon to be good. I think this whole extraction shooter Marathon game was a very bad idea. They should have just went with the old style of Marathon and just made a new one.
Today we're going to talk about PlayStation, because there has been quite a few things circling about the new PlayStation 6 and even what's going to be happening with the future of the PlayStation console as well. And the funniest thing about all of that is watching fanboys who are in fact grown adult men in their 40s cling onto something that they were holding on to for dear life back in the early 90s and 2000s, even though the one thing they love, such as exclusivity, is falling through their fingers faster than holding on to sand.
Yeah, I don't even think it's really that. I think it's more of a PC gaming is just better. People have come to realize that it is better, and it has been better. They were just intimidated. People were just kind of not in it. They didn't want to be in it. They just wanted a simple console. But now everything is so enshittified that it turns out the PC is now easier to use than a console. Holy shit, what went wrong?
So what am I talking about? Well, it turns out that yesterday there was a really big update for Helldivers 2, and this really flies in the face of what people have been talking about for the past couple of weeks. Let's take a look. According to Insider Gaming, Helldivers 2 PC file size has been reduced by 85%.
So you're telling me that install sizes don't have to be 100 gigabytes plus? How did they do this? That's fucking crazy, actually.
Already, if you are someone who games on PC, that is a massive file size reduction. Most games nowadays are coming around to anywhere near 100 plus gigabytes for each specific game, making a 512 gigabyte SSD basically irrelevant for only just a few games to play, usually about 4 to 5, maybe even 2 games if you're a Call of Duty player as well. But what we're seeing right now, though, is the fact that a game like Helldivers 2 had its file size reduced and becoming a much easier game to not only operate, but also much more efficient game to play, and you're never going to believe who helped them get there in the first place. Insider Gaming's article says this: Arrowhead Game Studios has revealed that Helldivers 2 file size has been reduced by 85%, and the new, quote, slim version can be tried in beta. The performance issues and installation size in Helldivers 2 have become a pain in Arrowhead's neck, and they have been hard at work trying to solve these problems. The developers commented in October on improving the game's file size, and now they have delivered the result, reducing the installation size by more than 3/4. The blog post on Steam states that the Helldivers 2 developers have made good progress on reducing the PC installation size while adding new content. Thanks to their partnership with Nexus, the team has reached its goal sooner than expected.
Yeah, if we're going to be reducing file sizes on PC, everything's cooked. Everything is cooked except Steam, because holy shit, you can install so many games and they would take so much less time to install. It's such a big problem for me because I got slow ass internet.
With all data being deduplicated, the file size reduction will also help improve load times, seconds at most. Did you hear that? Did you catch that? I caught who helped out Arrowhead Studios. That's right, the one and only porting studio, Nexus. And if you don't understand why this is so incredibly important, well, let's put the pieces to play, shall we? You see, PlayStation went ahead and bought Nexus as a porting studio just a few years back. And since then, they've basically just done pretty much amazing work throughout their entire time porting almost practically the entire catalog of PlayStation 4 exclusives and even PS5 games onto the PC. Everything from Horizon Zero Dawn's Complete Edition, Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, Marvel Spider-Man 2, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, Helldivers 2. So when you see a studio that specializes in simply porting their games to other platforms like the PC gaming space and also putting their games onto Steam, you can clearly see that PlayStation does in fact have a vested interest in going around and putting more games onto more platforms. To make things even more interesting, Nexus has even tweeted about working with House Marquee on their new upcoming game called Soros, and here's what they had to say. Nexus Software tweeted out, "We are excited to announce that art and game design teams at Nexus are working closely with Housemarque's creative leadership on key elements of art and gameplay in Soros. It's an honor to work together with the incredible talents at Housemarque, and we cannot wait for y'all to experience Soros when it launches on PS5 next year." So we have a porting studio that's been in the industry for 20 plus years already. That same porting studio has also done previous PC ports of other third-party games as well. That porting studio also gets bought by PlayStation and Sony Interactive Entertainment to go ahead and port practically every single exclusive that PlayStation had onto the PC gaming platform and even onto Steam as well.
Yeah, this is gonna absolutely cook Sony in the future. But what other choice do they have right now, man? They're not a PC company, and they don't have PC games, but they need their games to be on PC. What else are they to do? I think that they're going to be releasing their own PC and operating system. They might even jump into the Linux game. They already kind of have. I'm pretty sure that PlayStation software was based on Linux originally, and it might still be based on Linux. I don't know. I'm going to have to look that one up.
While Sony and Sucker Punch have been pretty quiet on the Ghost of Yotei numbers, we do have figures from Circana, but also insiders. And man, oh man, even though it's the holiday season, it looks like Ghost of Yotei sales are falling off already.
Yep, good. I'm glad. And people will say, well, it's technically a success. Technically a success isn't good enough. It has to be an absolutely mind-blowing success. That's what Sony was looking for. That's not what Sony got. Man, people on the internet, activists, I should say, leftoid freaks, are just overly sexual. Everything about them is sexual. And they want their sexualization to be represented equally. And whatever sexual representation is not the representation that they want, then it's problematic. And they're gonna cry about it on the internet.
All right, so Marvel Rivals, a game that is still going strong. People still loving the game. They're about to do another event. This one centered around couples. Rogue and Gambit, Storm and the Black Panther. I think Cyclops and Jean are probably a part of this. Big, iconic couples that people know. Here's Rogue and that is Emma Frost, but this whole trailer is focused on Gambit and Rogue, a very popular couple in the Marvel Universe. So I haven't played this game in a while. I'm guessing that there'll be benefits to playing with Rogue and Gambit on a team, possibly. I don't know. But if you just take a look at these couples that they're going through, there's a bit of a problem here that some mainstream journalists are very upset about. And that's that the game isn't gay enough now. So Marvel Rivals players call out the lack of queer couples in a season centered around love.
Players? What players? Where? I haven't seen anybody talk about this except for these left-wing publications, these leftoid freak publications. Those are the only ones that I've been seeing talking about it.
Now, The Gamer is a dying website. I just want to point that out. They've had massive layoffs over the past year. I don't even know how many people still work there, but I'm going to guess it's probably just a handful of people now and maybe some people that they pay to write articles.
Yeah, I wonder how that happened. So apparently people have an issue when you replace their ugly character models with AI-generated prettier character models. And like, I don't really like AI that much, but I also don't care. Especially whenever you're making characters ugly on purpose to fit an agenda, to fit a narrative. So fuck it. Fuck you. I don't care. Cry more.
This one comes to us from Nib95, who has some serious issues with the AI renditions of the women that are being upscaled, like Etsu, or even Laura Croft, or even Abby from The Last of Us Part 2. This guy is not a fan of this stuff happening. And to get some full background on him before we read his monolith of text, multi-platform owning, avid gaming fan, PS5, Series X, Switch, and PC, entrepreneur, car enthusiast, and tech, food, and entertainment lover.
I always find it so cringe whenever people actually put a bio in the bio, like stuff that's about them and their interests. It's just kind of weird to me. It screams old, out of touch person.
All right. And I've seen him in my replies recently, not being a fan of this stuff. So let's see what he has to say about these AI renditions. Any potential racism aside, which it's always going to be a good conversation with someone who starts it off with that, the convo around the uglification of these characters highlights how there's many insular gamers who have, one, an aversion to realism and honest storytelling / characterization. What does the word honest storytelling even mean? Because honest storytelling to me is from the perspective of the person writing the story. So it's always honest coming from them. If you have an activist writing the story, it's going to be very honest. They're going to be pushing forward their activism honestly on everyone because that's what they want.
Talking about honest writing, that doesn't mean anything. What the fuck? You're not supposed to come up with real things usually whenever you're writing. You're coming up with something that does not exist. It is fiction. And if it is not fiction, and it's non-fiction, then I guess you gotta be honest, but that's not what we're talking about here. The irony of talking about honesty and bringing up a completely dishonest argument.
What these people like NIB dislike is those ideologies being challenged. So they come up with these theories of, oh, it's honest when we tell a story. But if you make large breasts on Lara Croft, that's not honest. That's what, disingenuous to the gamer?
I haven't talked about Roblox in a while, so let's see what the latest updates are. Apparently it's gotten much worse.
We all know Roblox is a kids game, yet is not safe for kids whatsoever, which is incredibly disturbing considering how large it is. There are literally millions of kids using this game every single day, and when they boot up the game, they can choose from hundreds of thousands of minigames to play, and of these hundreds of thousands of minigames, tens of thousands of them are literally involving sexual themes, blatant sexual content, are sometimes honeypots for, predators and stuff like that so they can take children off of Roblox and solicit nudes from them. They don't care. Nobody is actually taking this problem seriously. Roblox is not doing anything about this and is actively trying to make it so that people don't realize how bad it is. It's disgusting, and besides this, there are a lot of fucking weirdos that use Roblox, and now there is something called a rosexual. People who are sexually aroused by Roblox characters. This is real, it is disturbing, and it makes me want a nuclear holocaust.
Or, maybe just a regular one.
Now! It's just, this is a compilation of the game. It looks cool. When you actually unwrap the gift and you realize that it's not what it seems, this stuff becomes like a Trojan horse. Let's see.
Yeah! Shake that, shake that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm joking, by the way. That was a joke. But anyways, I know you saw that title. What exactly is a rosexual? Now, I'm not talking about the online daters. That's old news. That's been happening since the start of Roblox. I want to talk specifically about the people attracted to the Roblox characters themselves.
OMG. So, OMG is basically saying I'm wet /
and or bricked up at this on my screen. So, like I said, this is just, if you, this is worse than having erectile dysfunction. You literally have had your primitive reproductive urges that have been, you know, made so that you reproduce and have children, hijacked to where now the desire that God gave you to reproduce is now hijacked to make you aroused by Roblox.
Man, the end of the Bible couldn't come sooner. We need Jesus to come back. So a bunch of leftoid freaks are mad about Saudi Arabia and EA like there's anything they could do about it. Like, it's owned by Saudi Arabia. They don't give a fuck about anything except making money. And guess what? They know activism does not make money.
How can people be positive about this? It's bought by a country that is openly anti-LGBT, enslaves citizens, and is one of the most misogynistic countries on Earth.
Man, miss me with that shit when you're trying to push all these sexual identity propaganda bullshit scenarios. Like, fuck off. I know what you're trying to do in the schools with the children's books, teaching kids to give blowjobs and shit, drag shows, all that. Now get the fuck out of here with all that. Cry more. You people were literally trying to destroy everything that we love. So get fucked.
When it was announced that EA was going to be bought out by the likes of the Saudis and a firm run by Donald Trump's son-in-law, the meltdown by the shitlibs out there was enough to make me laugh my ass off.
That's how you do an evil laugh.
The immediate assumption was that the Saudis and people like Jared Kushner were not going to let EA keep pushing their progressive crap into their games any longer, and we got gems like this one on social media where the X-account Sims Community melodramatically wrote,
All those efforts in making The Sims the most inclusive and accepting game are falling into deep waters when your money is now going straight into the pocket of an administration that is publicly flogging, jailing, and prosecuting LGBT people.
Hosted by the Sims Community. Oh, we all know what the Sims Community is like. Just look at The Sims 4. And all the people who make Sims content, and all the people who play the Sims games. And I love the Sims games, just not the Sims 3 and 4. I love Sims 1 and 2, especially 2, man.
And if they're talking about the Saudis, then yeah, they probably have at least a kernel of a point there. But if they're referring to the Trump administration, well...
That's bullshit. Stop lying.
Anyhow, it has been very funny watching these people try to come to terms with the fact that this corporation, EA, which only made games like Dragon Age the Veilguard because they went along with all of the other corporate groupthink, well, they've had to come to terms with the fact that that wasn't going to be permitted any longer. We all know that's the case because we all know what kind of place Saudi Arabia is. These progressives all sing Kumbaya and pretend that every culture is exactly the same, but when push comes to shove, they know the truth, that Saudi Arabia does not share their values. In fact, leftism and Saudi culture are utterly incompatible. These shitlibs are the sort who will push for something like this.
I want to talk to the kids.
And the Saudis will respond with something like,
How about no? And to me, one of a few things is gonna happen. Either A, the company collapses completely, in which, you know, it's the same company that was making Dragon Age Veilguard, same company that seems to be ruining Mass Effect, made Mass Effect Andromeda, you know, Anthem, doing all the weird stuff with like their sports games, all the microtransactions, stuff like that. You know, like, get the fuck out of here. Either they collapse, they get sold off, or they succeed and we get good games. In either of those three scenarios, in any of them, I'll be happy. bunch of stuff is coming out about Metroid Prime 4, and it ain't looking so good. I learned some things, particularly about the people who are working on it, or the person who's working on it. Probably look into it a little bit.
Shinobi on X, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond reviews. Started out great. When I first saw this, I was like, okay, we got a 9. Nintendo Life gave it a 9. Okay. I've never heard of Console Creatures or Shack News. IGN gives it an 8. Okay. Again, these are critic reviews. Take them with a grain of salt. This is just for entertainment purposes only. CGM gives it an 8. Gfinity, don't know if I'm familiar with that. GameSpot gives it an 8. The Gamer gives it an 8. Tech Radar. So it sounds to me across the board overall, it's about like, it feels like heavy 7 to an 8.
Which to me, judging by how reviewers usually review games, when they all give scores like 8, it's probably really about a 6 or a 7, especially when it's coming from Nintendo. So it's mid. Just like I was saying, I knew it wasn't going to be a bad game, but I'm not going to buy a Switch 2, and I'm not going to buy Metroid Prime 4. Eventually, maybe, you know, just for the whole collector's value of it. Unless gaming just, I get completely priced out of even the collectible aspect of it, which I kind of am already. But I'm still in the new collectible market until that skyrockets.
7.5, we'll say. Because we got GamePro with a 7, Games Radar with a 7, and then Video Games Chronicle, which is one outlet that I actually do put a little bit of respect into and trust. They haven't led me astray too much in the past. They give it a 6, and I'm like, oh man, VGC these days is what Eurogamer used to be. Eurogamer is trash now. But either way, they both gave it a 6. And Game Reactor, a 6. So overall, not great. Not great. And followed up with 8-Bit Eric, who said, imagine waiting nearly 2 decades for Metroid Prime 4 just for Nintendo to hand us another perfectly average, perfectly safe, perfectly forgettable release. Nintendo fans deserve better, but somehow they keep clapping for mediocrity.
And you know, they can have it. I'll be sitting pretty on my PC that plays literally fucking everything. And I really want to buy Nintendo products. I really want to be into Nintendo because I love games. I love the gaming community. But I'm not buying shit, especially when it's priced like that. And that's why I talk about it. It's because I want to. I want to get into it, but I just can't. Nothing's bringing me in.
Yeah, I hear him and I agree. I think the problem is to me at least, Metroid is such an iconic series. I grew up with this. Metroid on the NES was a game that I would replay over and over and over again when I was younger. We only had a few games, and that was a game I fell in love with.
I actually played the Game Boy games first. Fucking goated Metroid Prime Fusion, or not Metroid Prime, Metroid Fusion, and what was the other one? 0 Hour or Zero Mission, something like that. Both of them great.
And then on my Game Boy for Metroid 2, and my parents wouldn't let me play video games on school nights, so I would sneak my Game Boy in my room, and I was supposed to be doing homework. I'd be playing Metroid 2 all the time. And then Super Metroid, like, holy crap, it was my childhood. Okay, so sophomore year of college, Metroid Prime comes out on the GameCube, and I don't know what to expect out of it. I was a little bit hesitant. A first-person shooter, I was like, that's not Metroid to me. It never will be. I played it, and I was like, holy shit, this game is insane. It's up there in the pantheons of greatest games in history, Metroid Prime. It is that good. Go back and play it if you haven't, and come tell me I'm wrong. It really is.
I don't know how Metroid Prime 2 and 3 hold up, but Metroid Prime 1 holds up very, very well. I remember not liking Metroid Prime 2 as much as Metroid Prime 1, and I don't remember playing Metroid Prime 3, even though I did. But I played Metroid Prime 1 not too long ago. I didn't beat it, but I played enough of it to know that it was fucking great. I just got distracted.
And we get this, where Pirate Nation says, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is the lowest reviewed game in the series. Metacritic, 52 reviews, and 80. And again, for any other game, an 80 would be, hey, cool. I'll probably play that game at some point. I expect a very good game experience out of an 80 game. Yeah. But if I'm playing a game that I've been waiting 8 years for in a series that's so beloved like Metroid, I am expecting near perfection. And Retro Studios has to know that going into it.
Yeah, here's the person right here that's behind this whole travesty. Game writer for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Battle Chef Brigade. Great. One of these losers with nose rings. That explains all the problems.
But instead, what do we get? Reddit trash writing. This is Learning the Law, quote tweeting Andy Robinson, who is from Video Games Chronicle. And he says, OMG, it's Samus Aran. So I'm sure this is making the rounds. It's already going viral. You've probably already seen this a million times, but if you haven't already, prepare yourself.
Sarge!
Armstrong, you all right?
I'm good. You?
Yes.
While I was waiting, I was studying this hologram. I just... Well... Samus? It's really you. I don't even know what to say. Is this a new suit? It's amazing. I love it. I love it so
Private.
much. Yes, sir.
Ermagerd, Samus, Ermagerd. Why? Like, this is when they need someone fucking grounded in reality to helm the studio and direct this game. And if I saw this, first thing I'd say, get this shit out of that game. What the hell is this?
Oh wow, I'd never seen that before. Yeah, it's worse than I thought. Holy shit, it's just millennial slop all throughout it. But Bethesda just cannot get their shit together. Fallout's new update isn't going as planned. Fallout 76, that is. They're trying to tie it to the TV show, I guess. I don't know much about it. Let's check it out.
Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today. Hope you're all doing absolutely excellent. And I think I know who's not doing absolutely excellent today. Unfortunately, it's the IT people at Bethesda Game Studios. I think they have had a pretty rough past 24 hours, to put it lightly. Today, we're talking about, unfortunately, another rocky Bethesda Game Studios launch. And no, it's not Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition this time, though. That second patch is inbound this month, and I'll get back to you on that one.
Oh no, they're still not done. They're still not done patching Fallout 4. Dude, how could they fuck up this bad? And they're gonna break it again with that new patch that comes out. And they'll have to release a patch for the patch for the patch.
What we're talking about today is Fallout 76, which is attempting to launch its massive Burning Springs update. For those not caught up, this was an update that I previewed back in September because Bethesda was calling it their biggest update ever for the game, which I found to be a pretty bold statement because Wastelanders currently holds the crown for biggest update to the game. It completely overhauled the entire base game map, brought Wastelander NPCs into that map, kind of rethought the story, like rethought all these locations. It made it a much more palatable game for fans such as myself who wanted a more single-player style Fallout experience. From that point onward, Bethesda would focus on everything from a battle royale to raids and kind of lose me with the game, but they bring me back with updates like Steel Dawn or Skyline Valley.
My only experience with Fallout 76 is I came out of the beginning part, walked up to the first NPC, and she floated away, and I couldn't talk to her. She was just gone. So I uninstalled, never played again. And that wasn't even early on. That was like after things were, in quotes, fixed. Obviously, there were NPCs.
You know, expansions that focused on stories, or in the case of Skyline Valley, expanding the map. That's what Burning Springs is aiming to do, kind of taking this Fallout New Vegas inspired location, except this time it's Ohio. Not a big difference, by the way. Sorry, Ohioans. I had to get that one in. But yeah, they're trying to bring this Fallout New Vegas inspired location alongside Walton Goggins as the ghoul into this big update, plus a story mode, and time it out with the second season of the Fallout TV show to pretty much surge a ton of players back into this game. And when I went out and previewed this, I came home with some mostly positive impressions. The overall location was really cool. I'm excited to get into a new main storyline, see how that goes, and just explore new locations in the Fallout world. Sure, that sounds great to me. But I also wasn't a big fan of how like the story mode progressed through the game's challenge system. It felt immediately padded. I also just found Bethesda kind of overhyped it already by calling it the biggest update ever. And when they said to us in that preview event that, yeah, the main story is like 6 to 10 hours, I went, that's immediately not your biggest update ever.
Yeah, I remember when Starfield was their most ambitious project ever. I remember when Fallout 76 just works 7 times the detail.
Especially because when we look at the patch notes for 76's Burning Springs update, it's not like I see a bunch of things here that like, oh, a new event, some bounty hunting. Like, it's mostly repeatable content, but not like progressive types content. Anyway, there was anticipation for this update. I do plan to review it when I can play more of it. I'll get into my small bit of experience with it thus far. But yeah, it's been really messy. And I wanted to talk about this today because for the first time in a long while, I'm actually seeing Fallout 76 fans pissed off. And I think that says a lot. This is a very, I mean, we're talking about Fallout 76. This is a very, very, very patient community, but also one that has earned the reputation as one of the nicest online communities you can be part of. And I can attest to that. They're really nice to me, even though I have critiqued some of their favorite games very often. So what's going on? Let's start breaking it down. If you're new here, you're into what's going on with Bethesda, which it's been a lot lately. Consider subscribing, and definitely more to come later this month. All right, so starting off, let's go to Bethesda support because you need to sort of see the timeline of this all, right? So Bethesda announces on November 28th, hey, on Tuesday, December 2nd, Fallout 76 is being brought offline to apply the Burning Springs update. So they're putting out that signal flare there, letting their players know, hey, servers are going to be offline there. Okay, so they take them offline. Now, when this has happened in the past with any update, I mean, you can go check out the channel. I've reviewed every major update that's come to Fallout 76 on this channel. Usually it's just, you kind of blink and it's there. Like, you just sign in and it's there. It's never been much of an issue. Well, Bethesda first posts later that day, the team is aware of login issues for Fallout 76. Thank you for your patience as we investigate. Okay, like the whole community is exercising patience at this point. Like, all right, you know, do your thing. See what's going on here. It's a big update, right? Take your time. Well, they were offline basically all day. So as you can see, again, in the timeline here, that was 3:34 on December 2nd. Now we move to 7:28 on December 2nd. It says Fallout 76 servers are currently offline so the team can continue their investigation into the login issues that have been reported. So
yeah, this is why I don't like online only games. Whenever you want to play a game, you want to be able to play the game. And if for some reason out of your control you cannot play the game, it is so frustrating. And it can be enough for me to just never play a game again. It's happened to me a few times, actually. It's literally what made me stop playing PlayStation back when PlayStation got hacked and we couldn't access, for days, the PlayStation Network servers.
They had to flip the switch on this. Now, to the great hope of many people, okay, maybe they'll fix it later in the night. West Coast fans will mostly benefit from this. You know, the East Coast fans and those overseas, unfortunately, will have to sleep it off, right? So Bethesda posts at 9:12 p.m. at night. The 76 servers are online, and we're seeing positive signs that the login issue is resolved. Thank you once again for your patience. Well, that is when I tried to sign in, and I got 22 minutes in, and it was a pretty disastrous 22 minutes, to be very honest with you all. Like, the enemy AI was completely broken again. This is something I talked about with the first Expedition update when I literally crashed out on Fallout 76. I was like, what the hell's going on with you guys over there? But then it just kicked me from the server. And that was after earlier that day, like many others, trying to sign in and learning the servers were offline. Because yesterday's video, I mean, I'm happy with what we got out talking about like AI. I thought that was a really good conversation. But yesterday's video was really supposed to be just playing the 76 update and delivering some impressions. It was supposed to be just nice, simple, easy day at the office. But unfortunately, that was my experience thus far, was me just getting booted from the server. Now, much later into the night, I was able to get in and play a little bit more. I'll share some more thoughts when I actually like have most of the story done, because yeah, those challenges are actual blockers and it really bums me out. We'll talk about what the community's thinking in a moment here. But then it's the following day, right? You want to sleep this one off. All right, we'll play tomorrow. It seems like a lot of the 76 community is just already saying wait till the weekend. But Bethesda posts today at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time that the 76 PC servers will be undergoing maintenance and to stay tuned for updates throughout the day. And then they provide another update just before I was recording this video saying that they are still investigating the login issues on all platforms. And thank you again for your patience. So
they say they're investigating it, so they don't know. They don't know the issue. And how long did it take? Days? Is it up even?
As you can see, it has been, they're offline. They're offline. They're offline. They're offline. It's been disastrous, and it's left the 76 community really pissed off, which I want to highlight here because I think it's really rare as someone who interacts with the community a lot and peruses the community a lot through places such as Reddit that I think it's really rare to see them just teeing off on Bethesda because, again, before we get into this community kind of reaction, this is like the most tolerant part of the Bethesda community, right? Like, while many of us with Fallout 4 and what's going on with the kind of state of the Fallout games, particularly single player fans, are very pissed off at Bethesda, the 76 community is kind of eating good. Like, the game's in good shape. People like the whole loot grind and end game grind. Like, I mean, it's not something I can get down with, but I'm not going to shame them for enjoying it, right? So they've been having fun. They don't have as many issues with where Bethesda is right now as many of us do. So when I start to see posts like this, such as, Bethesda, I love you and I love your games, but this is simply inexcusable, calling it a shit show and talking about people getting in there, seeing game-breaking bugs, objects exploding in camps, objects straight up missing.
We've been telling people for so long, stop glazing these companies. Stop giving these companies your money. Just lay off for a little bit. Lay off the FOMO. Get the games on sale. Don't let these people get to you, man. Because if you keep letting them feed you dicks, then all you're ever going to get is dicks. I love the Fable games, especially Fable 2 and 3. I love 3 because I was a kid whenever I played that game, and I fucking loved it. I played Fable 2, didn't beat it, I didn't really get it, and then a few years later I got Fable 3, and I played it with my friends, and I was a little bit older, and I got it, and I fucking loved it. It blew my mind. I couldn't believe how good Fable 3 was. And then I played Fable 2, and I was like, holy shit, what? Fable 3 is not as good as Fable 2? And it just from then on became one of my favorite games of all time. So anyway, I'm very passionate about Fable, and I really want the new one to be good, but holy shit, it does not seem like it's gonna be good.
Let's talk about Eidos Montreal. So this particular developer, as I mentioned earlier, just to give you guys a little bit of a history so we could catch up on all of this, they are the ones who were behind, either completely or partially, they were behind Deus Ex Human Revolution, which I personally enjoyed. It's probably one of my favorite Deus Ex games. We also have Tomb Raider, the initial reboot, which was basically supportive development for Crystal Dynamics, and they were all working under Square Enix at the time before they got bought out by the Embracer Group.
I fucking hate Embracer Group. I'm pretty sure they're the ones who are behind the destruction of Borderlands 3 and beyond. Borderlands 2 is literally like in my top 10 games of all time.
They also made the Thief video game that I personally enjoyed. We also have Rise of the Tomb Raider. And again, I know how some people feel about the modern day Tomb Raiders, but I actually didn't dislike them. I actually liked the modern day Tomb Raiders for the most part. I thought Lara Croft was pretty decent overall.
I only played the first one. It was all right. I'm gonna get around to playing the other two eventually. I own them. I bought them all in a bundle and I just never played them. I used them for testing my computers.
And they were basically Uncharted, just with Lara Croft, but still, I actually enjoyed the games. I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend like I hated the game. And then, of course, in 2016, you have Deus Ex Mankind Divided, you have Shadow of the Tomb Raider in 2018, and this is when things started to get really bad. You have Marvel's Avengers in 2020, where they did supportive development with Crystal Dynamics and this own particular studio together and was published by Square Enix. This particular video game is what started a massive downfall for Square Enix and also for Eidos Montreal. This game did so bad that it ended up just completely getting destroyed within 1 year's time. The game no longer exists from any kind of real, live service level like it tried to when it first released. Nobody liked this video game. And unfortunately, after that, a video game that I actually personally enjoyed, which was Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, That game released in 2021, and unfortunately, I believe that it didn't do as well because, quite frankly, people were very put off from the first Marvel's Avengers game from 2020, not even a year before this game came out.
Not only that, but I'm pretty sure it was on either Game Pass or EA or something like that. It was on some kind of service. And that's how I know a lot of people played it. I think it was Game Pass, though.
That game ended up putting such bad faith into people that they didn't even want to look at Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and those that did found out that it was actually a pretty good game for the most part. And now they haven't done a single damn thing since Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy because, well, the only game that they can confirm that they're actually working on with Playground Games is Fable, the 2026 supposed video game Fable that has been in complete development hell. Nobody knows what's going on with the game. We haven't seen or heard from the game in a long time. Last I remember, there was a trailer that was showcased, and I thought the trailer looked okay. I also think they changed the main character a little bit from whatever the hell they initially showcased at the beginning to what they showcase in the latest trailer. Now, granted, she's not exactly where I feel like she should be at, but still, ultimately, I feel like they definitely did change the character slightly, but I think it's too late. I think people have their minds made up regarding the upcoming Fable, if the game is even releasing. We honestly don't even know at this point.
Honestly, I think that trailer was fake. I don't think any of it was real. I think it was just made to be a trailer, and whatever we see will be nothing like what was revealed. And it was probably just like a test or something. Man, if this game is bad, I'm going fucking scorched earth. Or if it doesn't release at all.
Now, here's the thing. Eidos Montreal just recently announced that they are going to be hit with more layoffs. It is absolutely destructive what is happening right now with Eidos Montreal. It says over at Insider Gaming, Eidos Montreal, the studio known for developing Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy and supporting games like Tomb Raider and others, has had more layoffs, and over the last week, a number of now former employees have took to LinkedIn to announce that they were no longer with the company. One particular gameplay director, Samuel Daher, said, "Hey there, was working at Eidos, loved it and would have stayed, but times are difficult." In total, at least a dozen or more people are now looking for work. This is the second known wave of job cuts at the studio after 75 people were let go back in March.
There's so many people getting laid off at all these different companies that there's no shot that all of them are going to be able to find jobs in the industry. So they're just fucked. Put the prize in the bag. That's all I got to say about it. Get good. It's a skill issue.